Hello everybody, Ian Maddox, Hitchcock Maddox Financial Partners, joining you in our continued video series, Financial Planning Simplified. And I've obviously got a wonderful, beautiful backdrop. You'll see a bridge to my right shoulder, and below that is the Cahaba River. I'm actually sitting on Hewitt-Trussville High School property, and the folks that developed this project did a phenomenal job of really just setting the building right down into the beautiful nature that is Alabama. And so I'm glad to be sitting back here. I chose a location because this week was graduation for Hewitt, and I know many area schools is the same boat. And I just wanted to take another opportunity to recognize the class of 2020 and all of the things that you are going through, the memories that have been deferred or maybe just will be missed altogether. We recognize how difficult that is, and we honor you for this. This will be locked into your memory forever. And I'm glad that many schools are looking to create some adaptive solutions to graduation, which I think is a milestone that we ought to cover. It's pretty important in young people's lives. And so June 16th, our graduation will be conducted, and I know there'll be processes to keep people safe and separate, and that's a good thing. So again, congratulations, class of 2020, on all of your efforts in 4 years of high school and whatever the next chapter in your life looks like. So a quote that I read this morning: everything you have ever wanted is on the other side of fear, okay? On the other side of fear. And it was written by a gentleman named George Adair. Just to give you background, he was a Baptist-trained minister out in Arizona, and later in his life he kind of evolved and left that part of his faith and became kind of a philosophical guru. And he has a lot of quotes that people are aware of. And my point in bringing that up is that if you think about this, everything we want, like if we think of a society, we want to go back to normal, right? Kids want to go back to normal. Parents want to go back to normal. Employers want to go back to normal. The government wants to go back to normal. We want normal. We want to just go back to garden variety, living life, its challenges that all exist, but just normal challenges. This COVID-19 is such a overbearing weight on everything we think, everything we say, and everything we do. So the fear part, I think, is driving people. I'm watching this in my community. I'm watching it on social media, amongst friends near and far. Certainly you're watching it on a news outlet. Fear is causing people to not be able to move beyond this and make prudent decisions. Either fear that the government is just way overstepping its bound and there's conspiracy that they're trying to take over the planet, one world order, whatever you want to call it. And then on the other side of that, fear of the disease itself that can cause people to panic, and that too can cause poor decision making. I'm not going to go into details either way, but I will say this, that I believe it's a false dichotomy. We don't have to exist in one of those two camps. I believe the best decisions happen right down the middle, and I think that ultimately I'm coming from an economic perspective. That's an economic and market perspective. My job is to help my clients to thrive or to make as best decisions they can financially, and having stable markets, having stable economy is an easier way to do that, right? If we're all over the map and have these crazy unknowns, it causes anxiety and often leads people to make poor decisions. So let's separate from the fear and let's use science, let's use data. And I know people will say that there's a lot of conflicting data, but I'm pretty confident that a lot of folks that are arguing about this, they're using the mainstream media as their source. Go read for yourself. There are so much detailed information that you can get out there. Last week I talked about two gumballs, right? The idea of risk versus the unknown. The risk side has gumballs in it we can measure. The unknown side doesn't. Go find the gumballs, because we're putting gumballs into that unknown jar, but we need to go read about that. And so my commentary, trying to be agnostic as I can, kind of just down the middle, not agnostic, but just kind of, whatever, balanced, is to say that as the economies reopen, we are clearly seeing a resurgence and a rise in disease. That's just being reported. That's data. That's not my opinion. That's data. There's a rise in incidences of the disease. There's a rise in death rates as we reopen. And the last thing we want is for governments to step back in and say, guys, we got to put the brakes on. We got to shut this thing back down. We don't want that. So if it's a simple thing of just caring for another man to wear a mask in a store, what's the big deal, really? I mean, what is the big deal? Some social distancing, hand sanitation, all that. There are certainly people that this disease is deadly for. And as best I can tell, the risk is substantially larger for certain populations than is the flu. And so this just seems logical to me that if there's something that I can do to help my community, even if I don't think I need it, just do it. It's just not that big of a deal. And if that helps that the economy can stay open, all the more, because that's a huge impact on everyone. Markets continue to be volatile, up, down, up, down, up, down. Economic data continues to get worse. We're going to get another unemployment number tomorrow. I anticipate that will continue to grow, although it should start to taper as businesses are opening up. People will go back to work. One thing that is very important to understand, and this is kind of unintended consequences, is we see that the PPP and the CARES Act that were launched, 6 weeks ago, they're somewhat in conflict with each other. I'm telling you, I'm hearing employers saying that they have employees that don't want to come back to work because they're making more money on unemployment. That's a problem. And so we've got to figure out a way to get through that. I think if you're watching this video and you're collecting unemployment and resisting going back to work, please remember that unemployment is temporary and your employer is obligated to report that. So it's just, gosh, I mean, if you have the opportunity to go back to work, go back to work, even if it's a slightly less pay rate. Because remember, I believe, this is my personal conviction now, my professional conviction, is that even if these jobs start to come back, there's going to be almost like a funnel, because I think that I know there are organizations, small companies that are not coming back. Those jobs have to be absorbed somewhere. There's going to be more people going after fewer jobs. So why would you risk getting your job back because you're making an extra $200 a week if in turn, a month from now, you have no job? It's not logical. So what I want to say, as I say in every one of these videos, is be safe, be prudent, be kind to each other, and until next time, Ian Maddox.